some statistical information for the improving our KPIs, but I haven't heard back. She got all wrapped up in East Denver, and I think it's going to take her a little while to recover from that.
Well, just so folks know, we do have a space on our on all our Notions. So for our courses, meetings, or projects or tasks, we can always include our KPIs and our success metrics, so that we can then track that.
Great.
Yep.
The king has arrived. Welcome, King. Look at that.
Yeah, GM everyone.
Yeah.
Created an agenda for today.
That's what I'll the link.
Bam. Boom. A quick update to the Notions. So, Thrive cannot pull Notion usernames. So, we always have to use the multi-select property where I have, the name and then the person's Discord ID. So there is, and I'll show this on my screen real quick. Boom. Essentially, so we have on the live sessions calendar, this is the only place we're using this particular, the assign field, so that where you like at somebody's username and then it shows up, with their Notion ID. So we'll have to create the multi-selects, and then essentially for the presenter, and after this season, we'll probably just be able to deprecate these two fields. Or I'll have to go back and essentially update these fields so that we don't lose the history of what people have been doing. We just gotta duplicate it in a different format real quick. If I just change the property, the person's name disappears, because it's just a different property type. So if you notice that there's a little bit of duplication in those two properties, that's why. But then we're almost set up for Thrive Rewards. Those should be getting plugged in probably here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's really good news. Progress.
Yep, and the other good news about that is they can just read directly from our live sessions database. So there's a ThriveCoin table that just gives them, all the data, and then we'll just take off of here what data they don't need. But they can just pull directly from our database without us having to maintain a relation, kind of those other tables that I built. And so this view will probably be filtered, on whatever date, if they pull the information weekly, then, every week they'll essentially look at the last 7 days, pull the information from these properties out, recognize people for their Thrive contributions.
Are they still working on and improving Thrive rewards, or is it still going to be more, auctions and drops and gifting based upon, top 10 or top 12? No coin or convertible thing has been discussed yet over there, is there?
If we have, when we're actually going to be, soliciting to folks to fill up the prize pool. NFT projects, we can also accept DAO coins. When we get fungible tokens into the prize pool, we generally bundle them, separate them into a bundle. So instead of a prize pool with 10,000 bank in it, it would have 10 1,000 bank prizes. And then the idea is that the more we get into the prize pool, we can automatically distribute, and the more that goes into like random distribution. So like currently, I think on this last one, we were able to, the top 5% or the top 5, I forget what it is, but they were all guaranteed prizes from the prize pool. If we had enough prizes, we could guarantee that the top 50%, right? And so over time, we hope to increase the guaranteed prizes so that people know, hey, if, these contributions that are highly valuable and return revenue back to the DAO, like if I do these things every season, I'm guaranteed to win, an NFT. Hopefully it's the one I want, or, a bundle of tokens. But currently, the guaranteed winners are low. But the point is to kind of replace the community building aspect that Coordinate gave us originally, and then, but only align with identifiable contributions instead of, Coordinate was more for rewarding work that we didn't know we'd need to do. Now we know a lot of the work that we need to do, so Coordinate's been less useful on the larger DAO scale for that. But we're missing that whole community that was created around people that like to play Coordinate. Right?
Right. And is it going to be monthly flushing after each month, or is it seasonal? You start over with your whatever you accumulated, whether you did or did not get a prize. Then is that reset on a monthly basis or season basis, or how often do they start you over again?
Currently, it's seasonal, but the idea is that, again, the more prizes we can attract into the prize pool, then the more we can increase the guaranteed winners, and the more we can increase the frequency.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep, it hinges on, setting up those relationships to try to get those tokens into the prize pool. But yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting experiment. And we're basically, our onboarding process into Thrive is becoming the model for, any other organizational unit.
Did we have any analysis on the survey results?
Let's go check.
I saw a couple more posts, but I thought that was something that we were planning for last week and it was pushed to the next day.
Yep, I know. So I've added to the community call slide a reminder to folks to come give us this feedback. We currently have about 17 voters on all the polls.
Wow, 17 people went all the way through it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like all the polls. Let's check out
I mean,
some of
17 is not an awesome number, but the fact that most of them went all the way through it is what I'm surprised about. That was a long quiz, or a long survey.
Yeah, I'm thinking we can do a post over Twitter as well. So we'll have an announcement in the roll up, because it's, part of the community call slide.
Hmm.
I think next week, yeah, we try to get a Twitter post out. I could also spam each department individually. Um, just
I wouldn't recommend that.
well, they're all guilds that used to do or were supposed to do education, and if they're one, it's like, if I think instead of just like dropping it in each department, I'm like, hey, are there any session, can you give us any feedback so that if there's talent development you need in the department, we can know about it, and put it on our radar, because largely departments don't do education, right?
I
But
see what you mean.
but
Yep.
they have the biggest need for skilled talent. So I don't want to, again, and I usually, try to make sure I have a good reason. And so I think if I approach it with that question and just remind each department, this is an opportunity to give us feedback so that you can get the talent you need in your department, then maybe get some feedback. Maybe it's just department folks, that 17 department folks that filled out the thing already. But I think that's worth doing. If we look at current results, about a third of the people would like a different time. Um, People in general prefer a mix of async and hands-on education, which I think is what we would expect. Um, the how to session seems to be important. Um, Half the people aren't familiar with how to use Seshwell.
Whoa.
Coordinate. Yeah, right. I mean, this is, um, how to coordinate. Um, okay, again, important. Most of the people feel that they know how to use it well. How to collab, important. Most of the people feel they know how to use it. How to Sobel, slightly more important than the other ones. Yeah, significant number of a third of the people not familiar with Sobel. Gitcoin also higher on the importance side.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big education opportunity there.
Okay, and this is no. Yeah.
That was the last one.
Yep.
Sobol was mostly no.
Okay, I was reading it as yes being first. So
It will
okay,
flip
let's
it. It
switch
flips
up.
it to whatever's in the lead.
Okay. So, actually, like you stated, opportunity for Sobol,
Yep.
huge opportunity on Gitcoin. Discord, super high. Um, Most of the people feel familiar with it. So,
Good.
Etherscan high. wow, most people are familiar with it,
Okay.
so they do feel it's important. Um, one of the things, just a quick brainstorm, is that for the items that are important, and close to very important, but a lot of people are familiar with, maybe we can focus on keeping our async material updated. Maybe focus on activities. If we did like a 15-minute Etherscan activity, that was just like, hey, we're checking out, we're checking out Sam Bankman-Fried's address on Etherscan for the next 15 minutes. Come hop in and join us. So, and then by the way, if you need more info on Etherscan, here's our async, information. Um, Maybe we just
To me, this feedback says we don't even need to address Etherscan. 94% of people are comfortable with Etherscan. So it's like we should put our time into stuff that people aren't fully educated on yet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I was suggesting.
I think there's a difference though between knowing about Etherscan because we see it and when I go over there, I basically understand, the presentation of material, but the value of Etherscan and going through it and how to read it, big difference between me knowing about Etherscan and actually using it for some specific purpose other than to, check that a transaction has been processed. So I think it's worthy of exploring anyway, and, developing a trainer or presenter that could actually walk some things through it. I really like your idea or suggestion on the brainstorm, Ernest, of, just spending a little bit of time to do one of these things. Of course, I'm a weird user, both by age and then my tool of choice is iPad, as Ernest knows, and everybody should know. Even though I don't have other tools, I can go to them, but I don't like them, and they're too crappy. But even like the Bankless Academy, so far I've taken, I don't know, maybe half the classes that they've offered, and I go through them and I get the right answers usually the first time after reading the stuff, and I think they're well presented. And then I go down and do my Kudo Mint, and somehow I get screwed up and don't get it minted. Not that it's a big deal one way or the other, but it's just I don't know whether it's me or the iPad or whatever. So I give up and pout some more. I'm a good pouter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so that's what I was, like what I read from this is that it's important for new members, that we make sure that people have the information, that we can check in with people, identify people that maybe need the education more. But if it's and then how do we do, less effort but have high quality material? So, to me it just says, right, like, so the more we can just focus on async education in this case, maybe that would be the best use of effort. But it's important, so we want to spend time identifying people that don't have it rather than educating people that may already know it, right?
Yep, I see what you mean. That score is high enough to ensure that even though it's only 6% of people that don't feel comfortable, according to this survey, the importance score is high enough to warrant us making sure that everyone coming in knows.
Right. And it's important because it's the basics of security, right? If you don't know if you run into a problem, if you get rugged or, wiped out or anything, the first thing you should do is go to Etherscan.
Yep.
Right.
To get some answers.
Yeah. So get wallet security super high, super high. Again, kind of the same way, right? Like, we want to have really good, clear material, leverage the material in Bankless Academy, spend our time validating that people do have the knowledge instead of, preaching to the choir, right? Multi-sig, super important. Third of the people not familiar with multi-sigs. Also, we can get bank testnet tokens for our activities in all of our courses now. So we can just get a whole crap load of them minted to us to use and play with.
Quick side question.
Oh, go ahead.
Just regarding the testnet tokens. I noticed we're focusing on Gorley, but it seems like Sepolia is where things are headed. Should we be getting Sepolia testnet ETH as well?
Yes, Gorley's going to be deprecated. Gorley's going away soon.
For the 14th, they're migrating to Holly. So yeah, this is the one thing about testnets that I'm realizing too. Every few years, the main testnet seems to change. That in itself is kind of a hindrance, but I think, yeah, as long as we can figure out how to transition quickly when they change testnets, it's not costing anybody any gas. So that just becomes a kind of burden on us to understand what testnet to be on, what apps, what things on what testnets we can do with different activities. But yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, Ernest, maybe you or OxZFi or QuietFox could give me a little update here. Somehow I've lost the bubble on the overall knowledge with our how-to sessions being opened up not only just to being educational sessions for within BDAO or inward facing, they're now going to be available to those outside of DAO somehow. But I don't exactly understand the how or where or when and all that stuff is going to happen. Am I reading that wrong or?
Nope. I do have an update on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Essentially, ED3 DAO is going to handle our registration. So, right, like if you look at the NJS, right, ThinkDecade collects, you have to RSVP, you have to give him your email. He emails you instructions and the link to the Zoom where you join in. You never ever have to go to the DAO Discord except maybe to get reminded or find the RSVP. If we were to do this ourselves for all of our courses, this would be a whole bunch of maintenance, right? And as long as we're keeping it in the Discord, it doesn't, we don't have to go through that process. But once we get outside the Discord, we need that process because most people are going to be familiar with email. Most people are going to be familiar with Zoom. They're going to be familiar with registering for an event, as opposed to RSVPing on a Seshbot calendar. And ED3 DAO is willing to do all that maintenance and promote the courses through their networks and allow us to share that with other networks or other DAOs. And essentially, all we have to do is register use of the space, through their form. And then once we, just like setting it up in Seshbot, we would also essentially set it up in their space. They would have all the information they need to promote it. And then we would just share, that first email, that's like, hey, sign up for this course, we would just share that over our socials and our Seshbot calendars inside the Discord. And then
Okay, at the 35,000 foot level looking down, to me, then it sounds like we have established a linkage and a collab with ED3 for expansive and broadened use of our how-to sessions. Is there anything beyond how-to that we will use that process for as well, or just the how-to sessions?
As many of our courses as it makes sense to do. I on one hand, I think maybe we don't need to do some of the how bankless courses, but on the other hand, I can't think of a better like onboarding thing prior to the new joiner session than talking about, and then, talking about how our token and governance works. It just might be
Yeah.
a
No,
different
totally
audience.
agree. I think it's a great opportunity. I think more of these collabs and more of the DAOs to DAOs working together, broadening of education. As we talked about back in season 4, how important it was for education in general to the Web3 space and decentralization to be a public good and should be offered. And what a great way to do it. So appreciate all your work and other people who've reached out to Ed3 DAO to, take care of this. I think it's going to be a huge step forward and impact not only inside our DAO, but to the community at large that's looking to get involved with Web3. Good move.
Yeah, and so one of the things so we have a lot of content that would be great for K through 12 education. Maybe not the K through 8, but definitely high school and some middle school. All of our courses, most of our courses can be adapted for. So, I'm hoping that the collaboration will eventually result in, assistance in developing our material and our base, so that, it's, like real content, going out in the real world, not just this magic, crypto bubble. Because there's a lot of teachers that would like to teach this material, but if they don't understand it, and if they don't have like a high level understanding, then when they get questions, about a simple blockchain activity, it that's not good. So the kind of friction in getting in the like traditional education space is, how do you, pitch things to teachers, and at the same time provide them with the education that they need, and not try to replace their curriculum, but find ways that the blockchain education, like, just, okay, instead of using, a Google Calendar, we're going to use, or instead of using this web app to do a poll that we would normally use, today we're going to use the Governator to do a poll, right? And so they don't have to teach blockchain. They could just, oh, for this activity, yeah, break out y'all's wallet that we installed last semester and connect to this app, and then we're just going to do this polling activity. Doesn't even need to introduce blockchain and all these crazy concepts. It's just the same activity that they would do, but replacing it with a Web3, application or activity. Kind of very high level, but that's what ED3 is, driving and seeking funding for, and connecting with professionals across the space, for. So it's just a huge opportunity and a lot of work that we don't have to do if we can just collaborate with them, in my opinion.
And I like the acceleration towards adoption. One of the mysteries that we're going through right now is that we've got everybody using, and they know what current socials are. They know where Web 2 is. They're using it like crazy. They either like it or they don't like it. And then some are exploring, like yourself, and becoming knowledgeable and future leaders, future thought leaders, innovators into the Web3 space. But making that transition, I think, is very important, very difficult. We've got people like I Speak Nerd, who was a former middle school teacher and taught for 6 or 7 years. He's out there now in Web3 space primarily, and would be a good resource to assist in those types of transitions in and of itself. And I think that we're going to see that not only there, but I've been, involved with Fight Club with the venture capital space. And I know that's a whole different area for education. But the big issue is going to be not only the U.S. regulation as it relates to qualified investors and venture capitalists, but what is the difference between a decentralized Web3 venture capitalist and a current, TradeFi investor who's been in it for 15 or 20 years? And even Bankless Headquarters had a great podcast recently. Eric came on, and he's been doing this for 30, 40 years, and he's stuck,
Yeah, if we could pull back to the meeting a little bit. Yeah, no, it's all interesting, such an interesting space. I think the other opportunity is, since we're educating educators and giving them a talent pathway, what would it look like if after a season of teaching that Bankless DAO member earned a ED3 DAO NFT, which is a education credential in itself. Currently, you have to just buy it. But our training system, our practice system, could lead to, Bankless DAO members, educators getting, the ED3 NFT. And then they would have the ability to and permission to use the ZEP space to do their education, etc. Any other comments from folks before we go back to reviewing the forum quickly?
We don't have to run through all these live, just in the effort to keep our stuff succinct and not waste time. I was just wondering if this had been analyzed or if there was a different analysis task that was being referred to last week.
No, this is the first time we've gone through it.
Okay. We might be able to be quicker about this if it can be put into like an Excel or Google Sheets, and we can manipulate it and show ideas versus just scrolling through.
Yep, I'm trying to see real quick if anybody has anything less than a 3.5. So far, everybody that's replied says that these are all important courses, which I think is probably the best takeaway we can. I mean, everything is above 3.5.
That one was almost 5 flat.
Yeah, we don't even do this one yet. This is the future course, right? So we definitely have some that are in the 4s. Everything's above 3.5. To me, that says, we're adding value to the DAO. Anybody want to volunteer to put this into a spreadsheet?
I could.
Okay.
I just didn't know if we were going to cut off votes or, collect a certain amount of data.
I think we can take a snapshot of this and get the spreadsheet, and then I'll do, we're raising awareness of it for another couple weeks, and then we can finalize an analysis, probably 2 meetings from now. We can look at the spreadsheet with all the data.
Got it.
Actually, do you want to do it now? I've got a bit of space. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it at the end? If we put a hard line, because I'm thinking if we do it in 2 different sessions, we're just going to repeat ourselves. So maybe we just do it in 2 weeks' time or 1 week's time, and then we go through it and then take an analysis from that. I just feel that if we do it in 2 bits, I don't know what additional effort or some additional benefits would be.
I agree.
Yeah, we're going to promote for the following week, and then 2 weeks from now, we'll come back and look at the other metrics, the familiarity. But yeah, everything that we're doing seems important and something that folks are interested in. So
that's good feedback.
Yep. And then we'll want to publish these results too over some socials, so we can take care of that after we review it.
So then when we announce this, when we do the reminder announcement, let's also add a cutoff date. Like, hey, please view this forum and get your thoughts in by what's a good cutoff date? Next week, Tuesday, our meeting is the 14th. Following Tuesday is the 21st. And then there's one more Tuesday in March, the 28th. Looks like this was posted February 22nd. So that was 2 weeks ago yesterday. So it's been up for 2 weeks. Maybe 4 weeks is a good window.
Yeah, I think let's do it 4 weeks because after that, the interest is going to wane off anyways.
Agreed. So then 4 weeks exactly would be March 22nd. Our meeting is Tuesday the 21st, the day before. Maybe we could cut it off the 22nd and review it in the work meeting on the 23rd.
Yep.
Sounds good. Yeah, that would work. Katuba in the house. Did he leave? Yes.
All right. Taking some notes. Got my notes. Do we want to spend the next 10 minutes reviewing any particular knowledge session or how-to session?
I didn't have any on my radar, and 10 minutes seems like a pretty tight window to start reviewing.
Yep.
Let's pick one for next week then.
Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, I like this. Reviewing one every other week, picking one every other week.
So next week we'll do how to Discord, how to governance, and how to safe. So let's pick one after those three. The following week is liquidity pools, Gitcoin, and bank and balancer.
I think
is
the
there
safe.
One of those three?
You mean one of the first three or one of the second three?
One of the second three. Because if we're going to review next Thursday, the 16th, Discord, governance, and safe will have already been sessions that have been held.
So then we got.
So between the liquidity pools, how to get coin, and
liquidity, liquidity pools, please, because that hasn't been done for. That has been sorry. So it hasn't been done for a long time, and I think it needs a review.
Perfect. So there we go.
Thank you.
Nice.
That one's currently scheduled for Tuesday, the 21st. If we review it the 16th, we should be good to go.
All right. All right. Any other important comments If not, any random comments?
Well, I've got one. I was just clicking through the channels. I saw your post about the slide for this week. I went in there and I just updated the dates, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday dates. But I also noticed that the links for all the Notion stuff is the notion.so link. It might be better if we use the bankless.notion.site link, that external link, so that anybody who clicks it can actually get to the page. That notion.so link requires you to be logged in.
Yeah, it'll get. Yeah, no, you're right. I should do that.
It
Yeah.
does do the redirect, but it's just kind of a clunky procedure.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely right. I'll get that on the next one. And then yeah, basically, with Oluwaziji Bomi, the Sobel one he missed the other day. We basically rescheduled it for this coming Monday. And then updated the.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
That's the update to the slide. Is that yeah, Olu's on Monday. Everything else is still the same except for that left box. And then maybe too in the survey, you just announce that it's going to be closed for submissions on the 22nd. Oh man, and Marvel's going to be close us out on some brass. Is that what I heard? Can we get Marvel to do this every week? Open and close the meeting with the.
I'd be happy to, Ernest, but I'm upstairs, getting ready to get a shower to get ready for a little travel, and so we'll have to plan that in the future. And just for everybody to know, I'll be away from the keyboard for about 2 weeks. I'm headed for Japan on Tuesday. Hug those grandkids. So if you don't see me, it's not because I don't love you, not because I don't want to be here, but because sometimes in real life we get wrapped up with things that become more important than education department. I know that's hard for y'all to believe, but it is true. Take care, everybody.
Marvel, you as well. Enjoy your trip.
Drop us some photos for sure.
Okay, I'll post them. I don't know how to do that yet though, but I'll get them out on Twitter or someplace.
All right, we'll follow your Twitter this couple weeks. All right, and King, just to check in. So the how to governance.
Yeah,
we
so
have scheduled.
it's on Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'll be there to give you any support you need, and yeah, I'll introduce you, and then you can just go into it, and yeah, I'll make sure people are onboarded to the space, so that you don't have to worry about that. You can just get your introduction, and then you can lead into the session if that works for you.
All right, no problem.
Sweet. All right, and yeah, I'll try to make a special NFT for this one. All right. Well, hope everybody has a good time. Hee. Learning how to try to put the praise bot into my Discord. So that's been an interesting bot to play with.
I just got a update post up on the survey, letting people know we're going to close the polls on the 22nd.
Nice.
Cool. All
right.
set then?
I think so.
Excellent, friends. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.